Thank you very much, Will. Next, the BBC can exclusively reveal that British scientists are beginning work to genetically test tumours from children with cancer. Adults with cancer get this treatment already, but cancer treatments for young people are lagging behind. The aim is that children will get access to newer, more personalised medicines, which will hopefully improve survival rates. Well, Jane Draper is our health correspondent. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Why are treatments for children not as advanced as those for adults?
Well, children rarely get cancer, which is, of course, a really good thing, but it means that there aren't huge numbers of them to test new treatments on. And there's really exciting work going on in cancer medicine, drugs coming into the field which target the cancer cells, leave the healthy ones alone, so far less painful treatment for people to go through. You can see the obvious advantages, but children aren't getting the same sort of access to these treatments. All the effort by the drug companies is tending to be focused at adults. What the scientists doing this genetic testing hope is that they will find out lots of detailed information about the genetic changes in each cancer tumour that they are testing. So it will give them a case for doctors to say, we think this drug could work on this child, and a much more targeted approach in the future.
And so if it is more targeted, more bespoke, if you like, what difference could that make to the child with cancer?
Well, the hope is that it might spare them some of the side effects which we know are very significant from having to go through chemotherapy and radiotherapy, which of course can be hugely punishing for children and adults.
OK. It's just a pilot at the moment?
It's research work which is beginning in London, but
Right.
it's going to spread to children being treated at 21 hospitals in the UK over the next 2 years. They aim to test around 400 children's tumours in the next 2 years. It's difficult to know how many children it will make a huge difference to immediately, but they think it will give a case for at least some having access to much better, more effective modern treatment.
OK, thank you very much, Jane. Let's introduce you to Jack Daly, who was diagnosed with a brain tumour when he was 7. Hi, Jack, how are you?
Hello.
And his mum. Hello, Helen.
Hello.
How are you,
Hello,
Helen?
fine,
Thank you so much for coming on the programme. Jack, how old were you when you were diagnosed with
I
cancer?
was 7 years of age.
And what do you remember about the treatment?
I just remember it was a horrible thing to have, and as long as it was to cure and get rid of this cancer, it would be all right. But actually, all the after effects have sort of affected my life now, with things like sensory issues, anxiety and fatigue, but mainly just stress, really.
Right. So you had initially surgery, I think, followed by chemotherapy and then radiotherapy.
Yeah.
And I think as a result of that treatment, you now have to have a growth hormone injection each day, which is just another illustration of how, you know, your daily life really has changed, hasn't it? Yeah. Helen, I mean, for most parents, it's unimaginable thinking what they would do if their child had cancer. Take us back to when Jack was 7. I think you had an instinct that it potentially was a tumour.
Yeah, it's every parent's nightmare, really. You don't think it's going to happen. Jack was being sick every day, every morning. He had headaches, and this went on for about 8 weeks. And I took him to the GP, and it was about 3 visits. Finally, Jack was being sick in the car park of the surgery, so we had to go to A&E.
And when you were eventually told the diagnosis, how did you react?
Shocked. Even though I had an inkling, to be told that your child's got a brain tumour, that was just shocking. I couldn't really take it in, you know, and then from then we were rushed by ambulance to the hospital.
And tell us about the treatment, starting with surgery and after that.
Jack had 2 operations. The first one was to relieve the fluid in his brain, which was what was making him feel sick. That was built up from the tumour, blocking the tubes. And then after that he had the brain tumour removed.
How long was that operation?
It was about 9 hours, but it felt like about a week.
I'm sure it did. And you, presumably you didn't know what the outcome would be after those 8-9 hours, did you?
No, we didn't know if Jack was going to wake up as Jack. You know, it was it was a very worrying time.
And after that, chemotherapy and radiotherapy, which, as we know, is very good at destroying the cancer cells, but also destroys the healthy cells as well, doesn't it?
It does.
From your point of view, how is Jack different in terms of his daily life?
Well, it starts at 6 o'clock in the morning, where it's hard to wake Jack up because he suffers with fatigue. So he has his tablets to wake him up with thyroxine, cortisone. And then, you know, he's quite anxious throughout the whole day. He goes to school and worries about everything. His memory has really been affected. We're always losing things. But, you know, we were very lucky that the treatment actually saved Jack's life.
Yeah. But in terms of this story today, this genetic testing of these particular tumours in order to hopefully create more effective and tailored treatments for young children, what do you think of that?
It would make a huge difference because then you could target children's specific needs, not just as a whole. Every child's different, every tumour's different, and yeah, it would make a huge difference.
What do you think, Jack?
Well, I think it's good. I think it would be really good because I don't want children to go through the same thing that I went through. It's not good. I mean, it's done its job, but it's left all these after effects.
How do you think about the future then, Jack? I mean, you're only 14. Maybe you don't think that far ahead. What do you think about your life in the future, having experienced what you've experienced for the last 7 years or so?
Well, I'm always going. I think I'll always have these after effects, but maybe it might get better. I don't think it'll ever go though. We'll have to sort of just deal with it.
It's life-changing.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Helen. Really appreciate you coming on the programme. Jack, thank you so much. All the best. Thank you. Thank you.